Welcome to the second season of Operational Harmony, balancing business and mental well-being, where we achieve goals without sacrificing peace. Our host, Nikki, is the owner and founder of Nikki's Office, where she specializes in social media management, business audits, and business coaching. Her journey through mental health and entrepreneurship not only brings awareness, but also equips her with valuable coping skills. This unique experience offers a fresh perspective on approaching challenges and innovating in different ways. Let's introduce our guest.
Hi, Nikki. Thank you for bringing me in today. I'm really looking forward to our conversation. I'm super excited about what we're going to talk about today. And for everyone out there, my name is Jasper. I really enjoy helping leaders and managers build stronger teams. And I'll do that through leadership development assessments, team building activities, and coaching, because I believe when you look out for your people, they'll be a lot more engaged and productive. And today I'd like to talk about workplace culture and the value it has on the people, because when we look at the day-to-day, especially in our work environment, with day-to-day tasks, sometimes people show up to work and then they go home, and that process just repeats itself. They go back to work, then go back home. But when we think intentionally about workplace culture, we can create an environment where people really look forward to showing up to their work. So when we look at the why of our businesses, our companies, and really inspire people to really think about the importance of the work they do, they'll just be so much more excited about the work they do. What are your thoughts on that, Nikki?
So I've never worked in a corporate office. I feel personally that would probably not end well for me. Uh, but I worked at Walmart, and Walmart is one of those, sorry, Walmart, and my last name being Walton, and I'm not one of them Waltons. Like, I'm gonna say this, but Walmart's one of those soul crushing jobs because you go every single day, but you know for a fact that when Walmart talks about loving its employees, they really mean the ones in the offices here in Arkansas and not the ones in the stores because of just how badly you can be treated. And so I think if we had, I don't mean fake niceness, right? Because you have those people who are like, well, we have ping pong tables and other things for people to play. But if you actually caught anybody using those things, they'd get in trouble for not doing their work, right? Some of them
Right.
anyway. And like, so I don't want it to be fake company love. And I don't want it to be the company love that is talking about some of its employees, but not all of its employees.
Nikki, you bring up such a very good perspective, because when a company really wants to embrace their values, they need to stand up for it. And you brought up an excellent point. Leaders need to lead by example. And it's really sad when a leader says one thing and then they do another. It's really sad when a leader tries to really promote work-life balance. And I mean, when a leader promotes, yeah, work-life balance, but at the same time, that leader isn't really giving themselves enough breathing room. People see that, and when they see that type of behavior that doesn't align with what a leader stands for, it really puts more pressure into people into really understanding what's real and what's not real. Because when a leader is saying one thing and they're not role modeling that behavior in front of other people, it's sending the wrong message. And again, that's going to burn out so many employees when they see one thing and they get the other. So really, really frustrating to many people.
Yeah, and everybody sees it in the pizza parties.
Oh, that's right. Because when we look at leadership culture, or when we look at company culture, it's more than just pizza parties. It's more than take your dogs to work day. It's more than ping pong tables. What a real effective culture is, it's providing that space where everyone can really work together, communicate, talk about what's on their mind, express their voice. Because if none of these are available, then it doesn't matter what day pizza party it is. It doesn't matter what day bring your dogs to work day is. It doesn't matter how many ping pong tables you have in the office. if people don't have a voice, it's really going to be difficult to have a culture that means something to them.
I've also heard of like a casual day where like you can wear more comfortable clothing than you're supposed to be able to use in an office. I don't have that kind of clothing at all. Would not be able to work in an office at this point. But I have seen like sometimes you have to pay, and maybe it's only $1 or two, but why should you have to pay to be able to take advantage of a day where you can be comfortable? And then you get people who say, yes, today's casual clothes and you can wear jeans. But as soon as you show up in jeans, they're like, why did you wear blue jeans? They're supposed to be black. Like, really? This is casual day. We're supposed to be able to be comfortable. What is your deal? I've heard stories like that all over the place where companies say that this is a good thing. We're going to give you bigger bonuses. We're going to do these things. And instead of, and then when the money comes in from everybody trying so hard, all of a sudden people are fired because there's not enough room for them. And it's more because they're trying to stack those bonuses for themselves so that everybody in the higher ups get that money, and everybody at the down, no bonuses for you. We're not doing bonuses this year. You guys failed to get what we wanted. Then we doubled what you wanted. What are you talking about? We didn't do what you wanted.
It's such an unhealthy mismatch when leadership tries to promote this certain way of being. Again, for any business or organization to be effective, they really have to care about their employees. And if an organization, for example, really does want a casual Friday, then make it a casual Friday. If you're going to say casual Friday and someone shows up in sweats and you disapprove, then that's on leadership because the message was casual and there was no clarification into what that meant. Therefore, it's going to be on leadership for not being clear enough on the message that was providing. So when it comes to a great workplace, leaders need to be clear about what's acceptable and not acceptable. And at the same time, when they're holding those standards with employees, no one should be treated differently. Everyone is on the same page and really helping everyone win. That's how you'll make the work environment much more better for everyone.
So, what are some tips that you have for leaders, maybe somebody just going into leadership for the first time, to try and maybe not fix everything because, new boy can't fix everything, but like how they should act with this new promotion instead of just being like, haha, now I'm king of the hill and you're all a peon.
That's right. It's really disappointing when a leader sees their title as some magic wand for them to finally be the boss and step over people. That's not how it works. When I've talked to many effective leaders, they do believe that you do have to earn that space to be a leader. And really, to get there, especially with new leaders, be open to listening to the perspectives of other people. The days of command and control when you can just tell someone to say, hey, do this, do that, and that's your day, that's not going to be effective anymore. People want to express their voice, what's on their mind, to be more effective, because when everyone's just silenced, they're really not going to feel engaged or motivated to do any work. So as a leader, wherever you are in experience, from new to veteran, what you want to do is really have open ears, give that space and that opportunity for other people to express themselves, because they might have an idea that you haven't considered. And when you take that perspective in, you can be much more effective and efficient than you were before.
So, what is your experience with culture, company culture? Let's make sure
That's right.
that's a definite line we're putting on things.
So for me, I remember in one role I had in the corporate world, it was my first day and I had stepped into the office, and that's the day I learned on the first day that the original team there, they had already put in their 2 weeks. So I was there to fill in. And wow, that was a surprise. When I was working with the team, I just felt this lower sense of productivity around. There was this lower sense of engagement, lower sense of motivation, and you could feel that strain on your work just influencing you. But when I had the opportunity to build a new team, when new hires came in, that gave me the opportunity to turn things around and really give that space for everyone to be open about how we can be more effective in the work we do. We reviewed our processes, structures, projects, tasks, and looked for ways to make it so much better. And when you look at the end result, that original culture, I mean, it wasn't so great. You could feel it. And with the new culture, where there's just a higher level of productivity, higher level of engagement, higher level of motivation, I really felt that difference. And which is why culture means something to me, because you can really feel its impact.
When I work with people, I don't say I work for anybody because that leaves things too much out. I work for a lot of different people, and I have run across people who I don't like people who are two faced, whether they're a corporate person talking down to somebody below them or somebody like what I work with, a solopreneur or whatever, and they're coming to me saying, "Hey, I need you to help me with this," and then not listening to my full sentence before they start yelling at me. Dude, the fastest way to get me to not work with you anymore is to start yelling at me. I don't care what you're, I don't care how pie in the sky, great idea, oh, you got blessed by the Pope type deal you have. You yell at me, you talk down at me, I'm eventually going to go screw this and leave. And I don't think that a lot of corporate leaders realize that I'm not alone in saying that being yelled at, being talked down to, having that two-faced thing where it's good for me but not for thee kind of breaks down everything because, oh yes, you guys get a pizza party, but up here in the corporate thing, we're going to go out to lunch and have a $5,000 lunch while y'all are having pizza to celebrate your win.
Nikki, you just brought up a really, really cool phrase, blessed by the Pope. My goodness, like, there are leaders out there, and it's really concerning when leaders get this title and suddenly they think all these magical rights are assigned to them, and they feel that since they have this title of leader, they can just run over people. But it's not, it doesn't motivate others. When, as you mentioned, Nikki, when we get yelled at, that doesn't really excite us about the work we're doing. On the other hand, when a leader actually wants to make that space to say, Nikki, what's on your mind? How can we make this project better? You'll feel that higher level of ownership. And when you feel like you're part of the process, you're motivated to do more. So it's just a shame when leaders are, as you said with that cool phrase you used, blessed by the Pope. It's magic. They have these magical powers that they can suddenly run over people. But that's not how effective leadership works.
I've actually seen that also where somebody who's worked there 6 months treats somebody who just got there today. I'm better than you because I've been here longer. No, you're not. You've just sat in a seat, from what I can tell, with you giving me everything that you've ever had to work on that's due now. Like you didn't do anything. You were just waiting for a peon to come along that you could grab and feel more important than and give all your work to them. So,
That is,
I mean, and I've seen that. I've had people that I've worked with. I work with solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, and because they're all that. But solopreneur just means that they're the only person in their company, and I work with them in a lot of different ways to help them with their business. And so, if they come into it and they're like, "Well, I need you to do this, and that," oh, dude, you're not paying me enough. No, like, let's reevaluate this because I can tell you now, I have plenty of room for new clients, but I can't take on a new client that is going to all of a sudden try to take over all of my time. Some of this stuff has to be a you problem. It is not my company. I am your company is not mine. But what I can do is I can come in, I can learn the systems, I can do the things, and then we can sit down and go, okay, now you hired me to do X and X or X and Y, and through dealing with your systems and stuff for the last month or two, noticed that I can probably take Z and A off your table, right? I can take those things, you keep doing what you're doing, and maybe add a small charge on because now I'm taking more responsibility. Because the more you put on my plate, the more that slider goes up. And I'm not talking by thousands either. I'm not one of those people. Oh, you want me to check your email for you? Okay, that's $5,000 a week. Why? You're like, click on a button and go, okay, yeah, she's paid attention to everything. That's good. So, even as someone doing what I do, I run into people who are like, well, I know what I'm doing. You just called me and asked me how to put messages on your computer. But sure, you know exactly how to run all of your systems better than I do.
When it comes to wow, that's when it comes to entrepreneurial leadership. Entrepreneurs. On the one hand, I know that since one person is operating a lot and they need the support, but at the same time, leaders should give the space for other people to really provide that support, meeting them where they're at, instead of, I mean, putting hundreds and thousands of tasks on your plate. That's just going to stress you out. And leaders should understand that the more they put on someone else's plate, the more likely they're overwhelmed and the more likely they're going to burn out if that cycle continues of just shoving more paperwork in your face. But on the other hand, when a leader really takes the time to understand what's on your plate and what they can do to support you in clearing out your plate, that really makes for a productive conversation where a leader and a team member can get a better understanding of how they can work together.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that I'm complaining about the people I work with. I work
Yeah.
with some amazing people,
Oh, yeah.
and we have our disagreements, or I have my days where I'm going, why did you do that? No, don't do that again. I'll fix it, but don't do that again. you know,
Oh, yeah.
we all have those days. But, and the people I still work with, I have, great like professional relationships with, and a lot of them even personal relationships with them because I have just been a part of their life for so long. But on the other side, I am growing, right? I'm growing my business
Yeah.
because that's what you do. And when you're doing that and you take on, you're in the process of taking on a new client and they're like, okay, well, these are the things you do. I want you to do all of it. Uh-huh. We're going to like tiptoe in on this, okay? We're going to pick a couple of high priority items and then we're going to evaluate exactly what is needed over a month or two and then sit back down and agree on exactly what's going to happen, because I'm not going to come out the gate doing 50 different things because one, I don't know how you think. I don't know you like that yet.
Yeah.
I don't know, some of these things require a lot of input, at least at the beginning, to get me to know exactly what to say to whatever email.
That's right.
So you need to like chill way down. And if they can understand that and work with me, then we're golden. And then I end up working with them. I usually keep my clients. I've had a couple that have fallen off, but it wasn't, like I said, the one guy yelled at me and I was like done with it after the second time it happened. Because if you listen to my full sentence and not just the reactionary bit in the middle, maybe you'll learn something.
That's right. And when it comes to just entrepreneurs, yeah, there are rock star entrepreneurs out there, but at the same time, those that haven't really been exposed to that leadership understanding, that's where we'll see those challenges. But there are rock stars, definitely rock stars out there.
Yeah, I work with some great people and they're doing great things in their different fields, and I'm all over the place with the stuff I do and the people I work with. And that's perfectly fine by me because I would be bored to tears working in a corporate office doing the same task every single day. I'm not sure that, yeah, I think there would be
Day
a
in and day
chaos.
out.
there'd be a KIA situation happening or something, but like I can't do a lot of truly boring, repetitive tasks. I have somebody I hire for that, and she laughs at me because I'm like, look, this thing is probably going to take you an hour, but it's taken me 6 hours just to call you, and I've gotten nothing done because all I keep thinking is this is going to make me have to click on something 17 times every single time I want more information. So you really just can you get the information? Hour or two later, she comes back with all the information I needed, and I'm fine with that.
So you like that excitement with new task.
Yes. Once, I mean, and I can keep doing them, some of the repetitive tasks, but like if I have to go in and pull all, like for my roofers recently, we had to go in and pull all of the signed contracts. And I was like, this is going to take me a million here because I don't want to have to click into each job, click into files, click into this thing, click into that thing, just to get to the contract, then download it into in a way that makes sense. And no, that kind of repetitive task, yeah, that's a KIA situation. I can't. No.
The novelty of doing something new. That'll.
Yeah.
That's
Much better than clicking into some. And then the software we were using had wheels of death after you clicked on anything for like a full minute. No, I am not. No, I'm not sitting here trying to be bored doing one task over and over again, having to watch that wheel of death. Like half your time, if you spend an hour, like 15 minutes of it is just watching the wheel of death. And
and there goes 15 minutes.
I don't have the patience to deal with that kind of thing. So I have somebody that is a sweetheart and she knows me at this point and she just laughs at me when I call her and I'm like, okay, this is what you need to do. And please just get it to me because I can't. And I humbly go to her because I'm not like, no, you have to do this now. No, it's, please don't let me do this. don't, don't make me do this by myself. She is very much appreciated. She gets paid for her time. She appreciates having a little extra money every once in a while when that happens. And so it's great. But on the other hand, I've worked with people who treated me like dirt under their feet just because my business isn't making as much money as theirs. And I'm like, I could make more than you. I probably will at some point, but I'm growing strategically and I'm doing things my way. I'm running a podcast while running a business. I gotta tell you, right now, the podcast is way busier than the business, but like, it's a blessing, not a curse, and it too shall pass.
That's right. But that's amazing. And I would say that reminds me of what you mentioned earlier, giving the right task to the right people. Because if you give something to someone that really doesn't fit their skills, experience, motivation, it's not going to be done as well as if you had just given it to someone who would find it appealing and easier for them to complete. So, yeah, giving the right task to the right people, that makes a difference.
Yeah, I'd never forward my phone to her and be like, "Hey, can you answer this for a couple hours?" Because she would totally want to kill me if I did that. She would not be appreciative of her phone ringing like that, right? So she's great for those little things. She loves doing them. I don't know why, but it's a thing for her. She loves doing it, and I'm like, you know what? If you love doing the things that drive me up the wall, I'm just gonna give you the money to do it
You found your
because
match.
I ain't having that. And she learned the systems pretty quick. She was using a software that some of the people some of the roofers that were using it, like still didn't know 90% of the stuff. So she's very smart and she works well. So it's fine for me. On the other side of that, sometimes I worked at Walmart. I had a manager who was in training when I got hired, and she was the seventh person to come up to me and try to tell me how to do something, and she wanted me to do it a seventh different way, and I just stopped, stepped back, and said, you know what, I don't need everybody and their brother telling me what to do. One person can teach me what to do. and everybody else needs to back off because I'm not learning it 7 different ways so that I can do it wrong every time. So you need to chill and go away. I mean, I got wrote up because I yelled in the middle of the photo lab pit, but what was I supposed to do? Everybody and their brother kept coming. Oh, no, no, you're doing it wrong. Oh, no, no, you're doing it. And she was just the last in a long line of people that I broke. And so I got wrote up for that. Not a big deal. But then the great lady that was my manager when I got hired decided to go to like Ohio or something. I go to Ohio. I don't think I ever figured that out. But the manager in training, who is not supposed to become the manager at the place she was in training at, because you come in with
Ah,
preconceived ideas. So Walmart's policy is that she was not supposed to be able to be a manager there, and yet they let her become a manager there for expediency sake or something. And she hated me because I'm not the only one that got wrote up that day. She did too, for like trying to force herself, like she had touched me to get to the thing I was doing, trying to tell me I was wrong. She like tried to push me off, and that's when I was like, don't do that.
wow. Wow.
So she got wrote up too for that. And so she hated me. She made it her life's mission to fire me. And she got her chance because somebody asked for a professional print, and Walmart had those Kodak picture makers. Look, this was back in 2003, I think. So I'm not talking about anything recent. But this couple was at the Kodak picture maker trying to make a print, and it wouldn't let them. It obviously could tell it was a professional print, and it wasn't letting it happen. So I stood there with my manager being in the little pot, she was in the area hearing this because they were not quiet, cussing and screaming at me because I was telling them, I'm not paying the fine for you to have a professional picture. Oh, but they said we could print it. I don't care. Do you have a letter proving that? No, we don't need. Yes, you do. Because I don't know if you know this, but if you copy a professional picture and give it to a customer and let them pay for it, Walmart has to pay a fine that's like, I don't know. Back then they said it was $20,000. That's what I was told in orientation. Walmart has to pay that fine. Plus, guess what? I'm going to get fired for doing it. Plus, I'm going to have to pay the same amount in fines to those people. So, like,
Wow.
yeah, sure, I want my job to go away because you want a picture of somebody in a photo. Like, I can't do this. Like, this is an illegal image. I cannot do this. I will not do this. I'm not paying a fine for you. You're not that special. And then finally, after they were done cussing at me, I walked into the register, and there was somebody I knew at the front of the line, which was by this point up to the cash registers in the front, and just kind of went, why do they always come out of the woodwork when I'm here? That's all I said. Yeah, I got fired that day because I said, why do they always come out of the woodwork when I'm here? Because I
My
was
goodness.
getting screamed and cussed at, and my temper, like, thank you very much. You should be grateful that I didn't flip my lid and start cussing right back at them. I was very professional. I thought they left, but they snuck around and were right there when I went. And I only said it because it was somebody I knew right there. Like, I wouldn't have said if it was just a customer. And so I ended up getting fired. But first of all, if I'd had a manager that would fight for me, I probably would have been able to stay because, yes, I was being screamed at. I should have had the manager come over as soon as they started screaming and cussing at me. She did not. She stayed at the back of the photo lab like nothing was happening. There was lots happening. She didn't even help the line that was just steady growing while I was getting screamed at.
Wow.
So there are people like that like wish for your demise. that end up in leadership positions where as soon as they're hired, and I mean, it's the day I found out, with as soon as somebody came up to me and said she just got manager, and I went, well, I don't know how long I'm gonna last then, because I already knew she hated me. I already knew she wanted me gone. And so that happens all over the place, in corporate jobs, in, you know, gas station jobs. It doesn't matter. If somebody holds a grudge and they get put into a position over you, they can, if they're unethical. See, that's the thing. You have to be unethical to try to fire somebody just because you don't like them.
Hmm.
Everybody thinks that they're ethical all the time. You're not ethical all the time. You're lying to yourself, and you're being two-faced because you know that you're doing wrong.
Hmm.
You know you're lying to yourself, to upper management when you make those claims that person just doesn't do their job as good as they should. You know what I mean? Stop holding a grudge. Fix it before you get your new position.
Oh yeah. And three things I want to mention. And the first thing that you brought up earlier with having the worker that's helping you, it's just such an awesome feeling when you find someone that complements your skills, and
Mm-hmm.
when you're able to take the things that you're not so excited about and give it to someone else who is. That's such a great feeling. And the second thing I want to mention, the experience with having 7 different people telling you 7 different things. I can imagine how frustrating that can be. And I think what's behind that is just really a lack of clarity of how things should be done, because if there's too many ways to do the same thing, it's going to be difficult to keep track of how something's getting done well. And when you can really clarify the process for everyone, it will just make ease everyone. It'll put everyone at ease knowing that it's done the right way, when it's actually clear that the right way, that there is a way for a right way. And then for bosses or leaders to be, you just brought up a really excellent point, Nikki. Leaders should advocate for their employees and support them, because a leader is successful when their people are successful. And if a leader is trying to bring everyone down, that only brings themselves down. So you brought up an excellent point, Nikki.
And to point something out, I think it was within 2 years of getting the management position, she was switched to the eye care center, and then within 6 months to a year of that, she was fired.
Wow.
So it wasn't just me that didn't like her and
Hmm.
didn't think she was doing her job. Like, don't come after me if you ain't doing your job.
So you brought up a good point. Leaders should look out for other people to make sure they're in a good place and helping them grow and develop.
Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with us. Before we dive into our next topic, I just want to take a quick moment to remind you to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. That way, you'll always be the first to know when a new episode drops. And we want to hear from you. What topics are you most excited about? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your feedback helps us create content that you love. We've got some exciting stuff coming your way, so don't miss out. Now, let's switch gears and jump into our next discussion.
Leadership roles and styles play a huge role in how the people under them are affected. So, obviously, for I think the 6 to 8 months that I had that manager above me, and knowing I was on my way out, yeah, I made sure I was doing everything by the book, but it also was stressing me out. Like,
Oh yeah.
I really, that day, could have flipped out on those people screaming at me. I don't take being yelled at nicely. And if you're going to yell at me with cuss words, dude, I'm a sailor's daughter who turned into a trucker. So, like, for real, I have a mouth that you would not appreciate in those situations. So, the fact that I stayed calm, the fact that I was just like, no, no, that's illegal. I'm not paying the fine for you. No. And that's all I kept saying. No, no, that doesn't matter. You need a letter. That's all I kept saying. I was keeping my responses short because if I'd have made them any longer, you would have heard the spice in my voice.
Oh my goodness. But
So,
yeah,
but I was able to do that even with all that pressure on me. And then to get fired because I said, why did they come out of the woodwork when I'm here? Like, dude, for real. I was forever getting the Karens. Forever. And if you don't think this woman was a Karen, I was sitting outside waiting for a friend to get done because he was going to be off in like 10 minutes and he was going to take me home. And this couple walked by me, and the guy turned to his wife and was like, "Are you happy now?" And she was like, "Yeah, that felt good."
wow.
So, yeah, the way leaders communicate, set expectations, and support their teams can either create a positive environment or it can contribute to the stress in the environment.
That's
If
right.
you have a manager that fairly says what they mean and does what they say, then you're excellent. If you, on the other hand, have a manager who does not do what they say and does not say what they mean, like you have to read into every little thing they say because you totally have to try to figure out what they mean, then that
Oh yeah.
creates a bad environment for everybody. Like, why am I here? I don't want to be here anymore. And then you have post office workers that, pop
But
off. When it
when
goes bad, it goes really bad.
yeah, that's right. Leaders absolutely need to create that safe environment, and especially with that example you shared earlier, when people are just arguing, it really dampens the feeling of your mental well-being, and that just can compromise how you feel. And when there's that tough environment that starts to build up, it really takes a toll on you. But on the other hand, when people realize how they're communicating and become much more intentional about providing a safer space for people to express each other, people will feel better because they have that opportunity to say what's on their mind instead of people just arguing, yelling, screaming, swearing. That doesn't really lead to any productive conversation. And especially when it comes to leaders, when they open up that space to really listen and give their employees or team members that opportunity to really share instead of the leader just stepping over being boss and the cool phrase you use, being blessed by the Pope. Being a leader is not a magical title that gives you all these rights and responsibilities. Leaders should work and earn that responsibility that's given to them. So you brought up some excellent points, Nikki.
So this bullet point list that I have here has 5 different leadership styles and who they're best for or what the effect of that type of leadership style would be. So first you have transformational leadership, which is best for employee well-being. Its traits are inspiring, motivating, vision driven, fosters personal and professional growth. Now, these are not the oat drinkers, okay? This is not what is meant by that. These are the people who can actually motivate, not just think that they're motivating.
That's right.
It's actually helpful. The impact on the mental health of the employees means that they feel valued, engaged, empowered, and it boosts job satisfaction and reduces stress. So they're going home going, okay, I mean, nobody's going home, yeah, I got to go to work tomorrow. Like, that's not anybody.
Love that example.
They need some medication if that is your response. I'm sorry, but there's got to be something wrong with you. Okay? But these are the people, like, you look at work and you're not, oh, I don't have to go to work.
To your seat. That's right.
So there's an example. It says a leader who encourages creativity, offers mentorship, and recognizes achievements creates a positive, mentally healthy workplace. So that is an all around good person. You want that type of leadership, right? Like your mental health is good. That probably means you're being more productive because you're not sitting there contemplating, if I throw the computer, how fast will I get fired? Right?
That's right. When it comes to transformational leadership, especially when it comes to mental health, you're really looking out for just the well-being of the other person. The other person is, again, they're not on the edge of their seat, on their toes, looking out for fear or any threats or any dangers. But when a transformational leader is in the room, that other people just feel this sense of growth and development, and that sense of danger is eliminated because transformational leaders really want you to really express yourself and take risks so that you can further grow and develop in what you set out to do.
Now, next we have servant leadership, which is empowering and supportive. It puts employees first, focusing on team development and emphasizes empathy. Impact on mental health is employees feel heard, supported, less anxious. It encourages a work life balance and emotional well being.
What I like about servant leadership is that these are the types of leaders that will roll their sleeves up and really support you in the work you're doing, because they're not the types of leaders who will say, here's task A, B, and C, D, E, F, G, here you go, do it. Servant leaders will actually be with you side by side and completing task A through G alongside.
I want to make a point that I think the servant leadership also, the good ones anyway, are going to be those that don't take credit for their team or
Ooh,
other people's work. That kind of person, yes, they're working with you. Like you've all worked on this slide, and there's going to be an end title slide or something that has everybody's name on it so that everybody gets a credit for the work that they've done. You can probably do this. The transformational leadership would probably do the same thing, make sure that the people who do the work get the credit, because there's nothing worse than doing something and then watching somebody else go, yeah, I did that, because no, you didn't. Want to end up in the trash compactor later?
excellent point, Nikki.
I want to make a very big point here. Like, I have said some weird stuff. I say like kind of violent stuff all the time. It's a verbal thing. I am not a violent person. I am not going to put anybody in a trash compactor. That is not my style. I do that verbally so that I don't do it physically. There's a difference.
Nobody in the trash compactors. But as far as credit shared, you made an excellent point.
Now, we have in the middle of the pack a bad one.
Ooh,
Autocratic leadership, high stress and burnout risk. These are the people you don't want to work for. These are the people who are making it 100% stupid bad for you to be working with them. So their traits are top-down decision making, minimal employee input, and strict rules. These are the ones who, if they do have a casual Friday, it's why did you show up in black pants? They're supposed to be blue, or vice versa. These are the ones putting them stupid rules on when you can go get a soda from the vending machine, or letting the office thief steal the food all the time, and you can't do anything about it because you have no proof. We're
yeah.
going to get proof, because here's one thing. Obviously, I'm not the skinniest person in the room, and that's fine. But I don't think anybody should be stealing anybody's food. And let me tell
Mm.
you, if I find that somebody is stealing my food consistently, I'm gonna do something. I have ideas like the laxatives or the spiciness. Something gonna happen to one of them meals, and we're gonna find out who's stealing. Cause I'm not letting you don't touch my food.
When
I
you
mean,
see someone making frequent trips to the bathroom, the restroom, it's them, Nikki. It's
yeah.
it's gonna be them.
Hey, Bob disappeared awful suddenly, and we haven't seen him in an hour. Where'd he go? Oh, there's your food. That laxative, a real good one. So he ain't gonna be out until it's time to leave, probably, and he may or may not have an accident on the way home. He's gonna learn today. He ain't messing with me. Don't take my food.
Oh my
So
goodness.
good.
But when it comes to autocratic leadership, these are the types of leaders that would send someone to go on a coffee run, and when they return and there's not the right amount of creamer and not the right amount of sugar, these are the types of autocratic leaders that will just get extremely upset.
Hmm. For example, a boss who enforces rigid deadlines without considering workload can create a
Mm,
toxic, high pressure environment. So, if you tell your boss this for sure, even with all nighters being in this, it's going to take about 6 weeks, and they go, yeah, you have three.
oh yeah,
That is the kind of person that needs to eat an egg.
yeah,
No, laissez faire. I'm not French. It doesn't have the accent, but it's kind of it can be positive or negative, so you never know what you're gonna get from this, right? But its traits are hands-off approach. Employees have full autonomy. So if you have employees that work well this way, this is fine.
yeah,
This can be a positive thing. But if you
yeah.
have the type of job or situation where your employees kind of need to know a direction to go in or something, then this is probably going to be very stressful and not quite so good. So it's kind of one of those 50-50, take your bets and you might lose type situations.
That's right. If the work is really complex and sophisticated, that's where it can cause a lot of confusion. And if a laissez-faire leader just sits back and watches, sits back with popcorn, even worse.
I was actually listening to something before this, one of those fake AI stories. I don't know what I listened to them while I work so that I can do the work faster. And it was the brother was like eating popcorn while the family feuded around him. It was absolutely hilarious.
How did that go?
The other brother loved it. He thought it was hilarious, and the rest of the family not so much. But okay, so the impact on mental health can empower highly independent employees, but it can lead to stress and uncertainties for those who need guidance. Just like I said,
That's
right
right.
off the gate, like it can work for some employees are really like nose to the grindstone. Let's keep going. I got it. They all on their own. But the A+ students from school who didn't relax at all, and this is them again in the work culture. They're doing the same thing, and then you have those CDE people in school who are now in the middle of the work culture going, but I don't know what to do.
Throw their hands up.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, no, no, you're supposed to help me. And so you end up that can be very negative and stressful for them.
That's right.
On the other hand, some of those people need to be weeded out because you don't want too many of them in the same workplace because they can create an environment of laziness. Now,
Ooh.
I have heard that like Microsoft dude has said in the past that if you want a hard task done quickly, put a lazy person in charge of it because they'll figure out a way to do it
I've
easy.
heard that.
Yes, but that is not the same thing as somebody who needs guidance to do every single step. Like some people have legitimate needs, like you give them a couple of set parameters and they're good to go, right? Or you could end up with people who are constantly, oh, they have three projects to do, but they don't know what step they're on. They don't know why they're doing it. They don't. At some point, you have to cut that kind of thing off because they shouldn't be there
Yeah,
in the first place if they can't figure out what they did yesterday and so what needs to be done today.
that's just going to lead
Um,
to more confusion.
yeah. It also puts a lot of pressure on those A+ people to take on the slack from those people who are not doing it. And then it's a group project all over again. And guess
That's
who's
right. And
stressed
that,
out?
that's going to overwhelm them.
Transactional leadership, stable but can be stifling. This is the last one. So this one it has rewards and punishments. So you focus on structure and routine. And so if you're not doing the routine, then you get punished. I think this one with the laissez-faire, if you do it in combination, can help those people who hold my hand every day type people. So you do that,
Yeah,
like, okay, I know that this group of people over here has got their crap down and they know what they're doing, and I'm not going to have any problem from them. So let me leave them alone. And then you come over here to these people and you're like, okay, look, we're going to work today. We're going to get this done. And here's the
oh
reward
yeah,
if you get it done. That those people are already having the fruits of that labor because they're doing it, right? Like, don't
that's right.
punish the other group and not give them the prize because they're already doing work. That's not fair either.
That's right.
But in the long run, if you give them their reward, right? The real focused people, you give them their reward, and then you come over to this. I almost said stupid group, but the hands out group,
The other group.
the other group, and you tell them this is your reward at the end of the day if you manage to be able to come to me at the end of the day and tell me what you did today and it actually be work.
Hmm.
Like, these are your 5 tasks today. How many of them are you going to get done? I don't know. It depends on how much your reward you get, how many of those things you get done. So if you do all 5, you'll get the whole, reward. But if you don't do all 5, then you get less of the reward. It's gamifying in corporate world, right?
That's right.
And this helps those people who need okay, I have 5 tasks. That's great. I'll go do them. They go and they do. They're going to get the reward, right? But
And all of it.
those people who don't know what day it is are probably high. No, I'm not saying that.
Let's just say they have a lot on their mind.
Sorry.
Those are some fun employees.
The absent-minded, the ones who sit
There we
staring
go.
off into space forever, for whatever reason that may be. Random drug testing is a thing. But you tell them, you have these 5 tasks too. If you get them done, all 5 of them, then you get the reward. If not, there is a punishment. One of you are going to get fired today. You might actually get some work out of them. But here's the thing with that, though. You have to follow through. You cannot tell somebody that they have 3 tasks to do today. And if they get all 3, they get a reward. And they do all 3 and don't give them the reward.
That's right.
You can't punish the group that always does all the tasks by not giving them the reward when they've already earned it.
That's right. That'll
Because
turn them off.
that will quickly turn that A+ student into your laziest worker yet. And not in the way that means
Oh,
anything will get done.
that's right.
But then again, if you tell someone that the threat of firing is on the table, you can't put it on the table unless you're willing to do it. Because if you're not willing to fire people who are not getting the job done, you're just going to let them coast along and ride everybody else's coattails, then why did you put it on the table? It's
That's
just
right.
like a parent. It's just like a parent. If you tell your child that they're going to have to go into timeout if they don't learn how to shut up, or whatever reason you come up with, and you never put them in timeout,
They don't learn their
no
lesson.
matter what they're doing, then guess what that means? I don't have to listen to you.
That's right.
I could do whatever I want. Now, this doesn't sound like it's too much to do with mental health, but it really is. Because if you are in a workplace that is not harming your mental health, then you have a lot of ways that you can grow. If
Yes.
you go into a workplace that when you were in the HR meetings getting hired that said they had a great workplace culture and everybody is lovely and golden drops of sunshine and all that nonsense. And then you walk in and your first day, you walk up to somebody and say, I don't know where I'm supposed to go, I'm new. And they're like, yeah, why do I care? Because they have no reason to care.
That's right. And that compromises someone's mental well-being
Mhm.
because when they walk into an environment where they're genuinely looking for support and that support's not there, it's really going to feel stressful knowing that another hand is not available to reach out to help you. So, really having that environment where when they say they're there to help, it's really important for leaders to step in, roll up their sleeves, and really provide that help that's needed.
I do want to make a point though. I have all my issues. I have a lot of mental health problems, but I don't think I've ever walked into a job that I've had way back when I had a normal job that was never 9 to 5. That was all Walmart type jobs at restaurants and stuff, right? I never walked into one of those jobs and said, I'm the best person that's ever done this job and I'm going to be amazing at it. Because why would I want to be amazing at working at Walmart? Like, there's not that kind of risk reward type thing at Walmart, right? There is growth, but it's very hard to get there, at least from what I understand. So, whatever floats anybody's boat. But when you go into a situation with mental health and the first thing you do is tell somebody, I have mental health problems, you have to cater to me. Guess who's not lasting long somewhere because they're going to get rid of you as soon as they can for cause. And it's not because they hate you, but it's because you're going to demand everything change to suit you. And who wants to work like that? Right? I don't. And I'm the one with mental health problems. That's why I work for myself. I couldn't work in cubicles because I would hear everything. I would know exactly what was going on, but I wouldn't be able to get work done. I could not. You're not putting me in cubicle hell. No, thank you very much. But mental
Yeah,
health
people
does.
need to be more patient with those who are experiencing certain levels of challenge. So being patient, opening that space and listening to see how we can support others and really meeting other people where they're at.
For me, as somebody, like, look, this may offend people. And at this point, mental health should not be this much of a trigger thing, right? Like, if you have problems, are you in therapy? Are you trying to work through it? If you are, good. Now, stop crying because your lettuce is weird. Stop crying for every single thing and pointing it back to something fake or real in your past. That this My mom would yell at me if the lettuce was arranged this way. How did they do? Come on. Nobody wants to go out to lunch with somebody who's going to start crying if the lettuce is arranged wrong. It's a freaking salad, right? You, as somebody with the mental health disorder, you do not have to make yourself smaller to fit everybody's mold, right? But what you do have to do is not make everybody uncomfortable every time you're in a situation just because of whatever. Okay? There is somebody meeting you where you're at and helping you at work. Great job. Totally for that. And then there's you taking advantage of that person's kindness and dragging it on because, but I have a mental illness. No, you have what is called a taker's personality. You're going to keep taking while that person's willing to give. And at some
Ah,
point, they have to stop because you're not helping yourself and you're not helping them. For me, I spent a lot of years not having my brain. Like, it shattered after a bad event, right? I was in a bad, dark place and I was just kind of coasting through life. And I probably took advantage of people that I never wanted to, but I wasn't in the right state of mind to do anything else. It wasn't until I started actively participating and got out of my last and final bad situation for me to look back and go, okay, I didn't handle that as well as I should have. I don't know that anybody could have handled it any better, but I didn't do as best as I could. But moving forward, I can't hold that against anybody but myself, the other person that was with me in this situation, and that's it. Nobody else in that situation was an evil person. Nobody else in that situation was anything. Have I had multiple situations like that? Yes, my life has been a circus ride of fun. But it does mean I got out of the last situation I was in. I ended up in a situation that was way less stressful. I was not being screamed at. I was not being hit. I was not being, it wasn't war, right? And once I got out of that and I sort of started being able to place the shattered pieces back where they belong and come back to myself, that's when I realized that, yeah, I had been working on myself, but I hadn't been taking it seriously. And I started to at that point because nobody could help me but me. Nobody
Mm.
could decide. Nobody can make you better. Nobody. They can't erase what happened to you. They can't fix whatever it is that happened. Like if you got in an accident and you're paralyzed, nobody can fix that. Nobody can make any of this better. But what they can do is help you see and help you get through it. Because once you're through to a place where you can walk forward, then you're ready to take a job in a corporate world or you're ready to do this other thing.
So
But
it's really a
before
matter of
that,
perspective.
it's not just perspective because we have a thing nowadays where everybody's like, you have to set goals, just set goals and you'll be fine. Or
Mm.
just do Pilates in the morning. Just do Pilates in the morning and you'll be amazing. Some people can't get out of bed in the morning. Okay. And to those people, I sympathize with whatever happened to you that put you in that place because it was bad.
Mm.
Guaranteed, if somebody is not able to get out of bed because of how just they have nothing, they're not doing, I sympathize with them. But the only way that they're going to get out of that bed, the only way that they're going to get anything done that will make any kind of a life going forward for them is to get up and go and do. Because the minute you get up and you say, I can't go back to that bed until I have one task done, you go do that task and then you crawl back into bed. And maybe after a couple days, you go, you know what? I think I'm ready to do two tasks. And then maybe three. And then as you're building that resistance and resilience and you're doing better for yourself because you're getting out of
Yeah.
bed, you're doing something, then you have a shot at having a life instead of whatever it is in that bed, which is not helpful for you or to anyone who is supporting you in that situation. I am borderline agoraphobic. I do not like leaving my house, but I do it twice a week because I cannot stagnate. I cannot just hole up. Chiropractors do not come to the house.
Mm. So I would say really getting back up, right?
Mhm,
It's a matter of really standing back up and
mhm.
staying back up and trying to avoid getting stuck.
And if you do get stuck, figure out why you're stuck. What thought is making you stuck? I have anxiety. It is anxious. I'm anxious just talking to you. And it's totally because I don't know you from Adam, right? But I'm still doing it because this is something that I want to put out there to people. This is something I want to do to support people. And I wouldn't be supportive if all I said was, "Oh, you have you have mental health problems. Oh, it's quite okay. Just curl up back in bed and you'll be fine eventually." Because that's not going to help. It's not going to help to say, "Oh yeah, you know what? You have time. Just go lay down." Because you don't.
Mm.
You don't have time for that. Because if you put yourself in that bed, how long is it going to be before you can get yourself out? And how easy is it going to be to slip back into it the first time something goes wrong? You have to face your demons, and they are demons, and they are trying to win. The sadness, the depression, the anxiety, all of it's trying to win. They're all different little demons, and they're all trying to win. And if you lay down, you die. And
So it's about really rolling your sleeves up and pushing forward. Keep going.
yeah, because in my eyes, if you have family, if you have the stupidest reason around, you know what? I have a dog that wouldn't be okay if I were to die in my apartment. Or I have a flower that would die if I were to die and nobody found me. Right? Just very morbid. Deal with it. Just stay with me. That stupid reason to anybody else can be the bedrock that you place your life. Well, I'm not going to die because I want my plants to live. Well, I'm not going to die because I want my dog to live. Or I want my kids to live. Or my mom's still alive. I can't die before her. That will kill her. You have to take it one day at a time. And in the beginning, it's 1 minute at a time. Everybody talks about spoons, right? You get like 10 spoons and 5 of them are depression. So you only have 5 that you can really do tasks with. Some days, you only get 1. You get up and you go you go eat something. Make sure you grab a big old bottle of water because that's going to make you get up for a couple of times a day. And you push through.
Yeah, so really
Through.
getting up, putting in the effort to really stay up
Mm-hmm.
and not to really fall back.
Nothing, it having a mental illness, having an autoimmune disease, having all these problems gives you a to-do list. Because if you stay still, especially with an autoimmune disease, if you don't move enough, you're going to hurt more.
Mm.
Like you may think that this is a 10 out of 10 pain now, but just lay there for another 10 hours. And that pain is going to be a whole heck of a lot worse. You have to keep moving. Mental health, autoimmune, all of that stuff is a go and do problem. Because and do for somebody else. Go volunteer somewhere. If you don't need money, go volunteer somewhere, anywhere. Even if it's online, volunteer where you have to show up regularly. Because what that does is you're like, oh, I'm helping that person. I'm doing this for that person. It's not about me anymore. It's about them. And that will give you a way out.
So overall, staying productive,
Mm-hmm.
and not just for yourself, but staying productive for other people.
Mm-hmm. That's
Uh-huh.
my advice. And it's controversial because nowadays everybody's like, oh, you have a mental health problem? Okay, I'm going to make sure that nothing ever bothers you again. That is so devaluing. That is so unempowering.
Interesting
Also,
perspective, because that does,
mhm,
when people with challenges really do stand up for themselves, that gives them the sense of ownership. And when they have the sense of ownership, that level of independence can just soar.
so in closing, leaders need to do better and be better. And people with
Yes,
mental illnesses need to do better and be better.
that's right.
Keep going, keep moving forward. The only thing I'll say is, okay, dying is not the option. Dying is never an option. So put on your big girl or big boy panties and just go and do. Figure out something. Go, if you're passionate about drawing, do that. Whatever do something you're passionate about, as long as it's legal. Let's put that little caveat on there.
Appreciate it.
Because people are going to have things that they're really good at and awesome at, and it'd be totally legal. I am not condoning illegal or violence or anything else. Okay. Do you have any final thoughts on your end?
Just to tie things up, I would say leaders really do have an important role to play, especially when it comes to mental health. When a leader, as you said, Nikki, is more transformational and that servant leadership and the right balance of that laissez-faire and transactional. If when a leader does it right, you're opening up space for other people to really feel better overall with their mental well-being and the joy and the happiness that they can bring to the work they do. And when a leader doesn't provide that space, it's just going to make things difficult. So this is a reminder for leaders out there to really open up that space, be a good listener, and really connect with people to make sure everyone is doing well.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming today. Your socials will be in the descriptions below. And thank you for coming.
Nikki, thank you so much for such an open conversation and the opportunity to learn from your perspectives. Really enjoyed this.